All right, this is my response to Not Your Typical Negroes video called Outrage at Census Forum. Negro, please. That's a good title. First of all, I want to touch on what he brought up about the word Negro, that, you know, it's been used by Negroes, by black people. So, you know, black folks getting mad about Negro being on the census form. It's like, so what? You know, they can say Negro, Black, African American, darkies. I don't care. It's ridiculous. So I know what I am. I know who I am. So somebody calling me something other than what I've already defined myself to be means very little. So um, I appreciate your video, Not Your Typical Negro. It's very good. Good points. You know, I like you quoting W.B. Du Bois. I like reading his work, and my favorite though is Booker T. You know, Up from Slavery. You know, it's a great book. You ain't black if you ever read Up from Slavery, man. Yeah, that's a great book. It's a lot of his speeches too. Booker T. Washington, man. You know, that's the man right there, man. You want to talk about what black men are capable of. Look at his life. Look at the things he accomplished in his short life. So, but yeah, good stuff. And speaking of the census, though, census taker just walked away from it not even like 5 minutes ago. Which is kind of what prompted me to watch this video. I saw it in my on my subscriptions page, and I was like, oh, he's talking about the census. This is kind of old, but he made it back in January, but I hadn't watched it. This is my first time seeing it, so it was very interesting. Um, Good timing, I guess. But yeah, I've been reading up about that. The census and everything, and why the government does it. There's a Title 13 in the Constitution that gives the government power or the authority to take a census of the people. But it's merely talks about enumerating the people, just counting them. It doesn't talk about gathering all this other personal information, race and sex, and if you're married or not, or where you work, and all these other, if you receive benefits and this, all that stuff is extra that they really don't need to know. The government has no authority to know that stuff, and it really don't. They don't really necessarily need to know your name, let alone, you know, uh, what you do for a living and all that. I mean, it's absurd uh, because they're counting the citizens, you know, of this country, but they already have the information. They get it from us every year when we file taxes. You know, they get all that information. You know, they get it by force. So it seems redundant to send somebody to your door, asking me about where I work and all this kind of stuff, and you've already got that information. You know how much I make a year. You know how much taxes I paid or haven't paid. It's absurd. The census to me is it's a joke. I don't know. I don't think it's about allocating funds to different communities. That's a lie that's being told to minorities because they know poor minorities. Especially special interest groups like NAACP and all these other um, groups. They want the government funds, so they're going to go out and mobilize and get the minorities, the blacks and Latinos, and to fill it out because oh, we got to get ours, we got to get what's ours, and it's like it doesn't belong to you. It's when it does, because they tax us, they take it from us to begin with. But the government shouldn't have the authority to dish out money where they see fit. That should be left up to us. It's our money. I don't agree with taxation at all, so I don't think it's constitutional. But that's a whole other story. So, but Yeah, I mean, we're getting outraged over. I mean, it's a distraction over this over Negro, but we're not asking why are they even asking about race. Why do they need to know how many black people versus white people versus? That's not necessary. A citizen is a citizen. If you're born in this country, you're a citizen. If you came to this country as an immigrant and you went through the front door and you did the paperwork and you paid the fees and you went to the classes and you got sworn in, and you're a citizen, and that's that, and so all they need to know is how many, all they need to do is count heads, how many are in this house, okay, how many in this house, okay, and that's it. They don't need to know, maybe they can ask if you're an immigrant, if you immigrated here versus were born here. I mean, that seems like a fair um, question, but beyond that, uh, they don't need to know that. It's really none of their business. It has no bearing on anything because the government gives out. See, people apply for the money. It's not like they just dish out money; they're just handing it out. People apply for it. The organizations and local districts, as well as on the state level, they file for the money. So they're the ones that ultimately give the government the info they need to allocate funds. So it seems silly. Why is the federal government taking a census and then they're lying to us, telling us that, oh, it's so that we can give you money, so we can know where to allocate money for whatever community. I mean, that's just my good instinct. I just don't believe that. It doesn't follow. It just doesn't make sense because when you look at bureaucracy and how it works, it's obvious the money's not getting to those areas because we still see a lack of funding in public education, and it's always the low performing or schools that are suffering are in minority communities. They're in poor neighborhoods, whether black or white. But in the more quote unquote richer communities or more affluent, where you have more middle class families, those schools are doing great. I don't mean performance wise like academic, although usually they are. I just mean in regards to having access to technology, having the funds to pay for school trips and programs, sports programs, and things like that. So we're it's kind of obvious that the money that's being allocated to schools isn't getting to the schools. Because we got people like Steve Harvey begging for money on the radio. And I applaud him for wanting to help. So I'm not putting him down. It's just you got to ask the question: why are we still begging for money from the taxpayers who are already taxed for the money by the government, and it's supposed to be going to the schools? Why isn't the money getting there? Nobody's asking that question. Where is it going? Who's spending it? Or where is it sitting? If it's sitting in an account, why aren't they accessing it? What's the problem? So this census junk, it's foolishness, man. It's distraction. I mean, we gotta wake up and start asking these questions and demanding from the government real answers. Where is this money going? What are you using it for? Why are you taking it to begin with? Why aren't our schools getting the resources that they need? You know, where's the disconnect? And we start doing that, we see answers. But this whole census junk, I mean, I asked the guy if he could tell me, what law, you know, where is it written that I have to answer any of these questions? And he couldn't do it. He just pointed to the Title 13, but that just talks about the census. It doesn't talk about asking me all these personal questions. And he's like, I don't know. So he didn't even know. He doesn't know. He can't quote a single thing. So don't fall for it. Ask questions. Demand that they tell you why. But thanks, not your typical Negro. It's a great video, man. You just kind of got me going on this whole census thing. So, but I'm right there with you, man. You're right. It doesn't matter. Negro, whatever. I'm a Negro. So, more power to you. All right. God bless.